It's Beer and Food O'Clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I've been smiling all morning. I had a little sneak peek of a box that come my way today. Here it is. Look at that, guys. Old Crafty Simon. You all know Old Crafty Hen. You all know Old Speckled Hen. The famous beer from Greene Brewery. Very popular beer. They've made me a handmade kind of version of it. My own Old Crafty Simon. I'm really pleased with it. It's a 6.5% ABV, kind of ruby red beer. Today we're going to be pairing it with a foot-long sausage roll. I'm enjoying my food and beer pairings at the moment. And of course we got a Christmas card from Greene. Simon, best wishes Becky and Ross. So back in the summer of 2018, it seems like a long time ago now, 5 days before Christmas. It's quite cold. We had a boiling hot weekend. I went down to Greene Brewery. I filmed a brewery tour. I spent some time with the head brewer Ross and the wonderful Becky. We drank some beer, we ate some burgers, and we ended up in an Indian restaurant at midnight, and that's as far as I can remember. We had a wonderful time. Really enjoyed my time at Greene Brewery. So yeah, I've been smiling regarding this beer. I'll get to it in a moment. I think what we should do first is let's get it open into a glass, see what we get. And the sausage roll is still warm. I got it from Morrison's this morning. It's still warm. So okay, Morland, Old Crafty Simon. I still can't stop smiling about this. An oak aged vintage beer. There's the bottle cap. Here we go. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Beer in the glass then. .5% ABV if I've not mentioned it already. There's a look at the beer. We got a 2-finger, slightly off-white head. Good levels of carbonation on the beer. Clear to look at. Let's get the aroma. It smells beautiful. Raisins, plum, figs, prune. Lovely biscuity malts coming through. The beer's got a tart aroma. It's like a jammy plum, marmalade-y kind of jam aroma. Spicy. You get the oak. You definitely get that kind of slight vanilla and oak barrel age aroma there. It smells really good. Let's dive in. I'll tell you the story in a moment. Let's dive in. Cheers. Quite dry on the back of the palate. You get the oak, you get the vanilla. It is raisin, plum, fig, prune. Carbonation pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. It's got a medium to drinkable mouthfeel. It's got a nice malty mouthfeel at 6.5% ABV. And at this stage, I'm going to give it a Stone the Crows. Stone the Crows to Old Crafty Simon. A lovely beer. Let's see how it pairs with this foot-long sausage roll. Look at this, guys. Whoa! Look at that. Smells good. Oh, I'm hungry this morning. Lovely pastry. Let's dive in. Look at this. Let me give you a context. It barely fits on the plate. Still slightly warm. Lovely and savoury. Spicy. There's some sage in there. Sausage meat is really good. A lot of you guys watch from Europe and America. You're wondering what this traditional thing is from the UK. Yeah, it's a sausage roll. So lots of pastry with sausage meat in the middle with some spices. Very traditional food in the UK. Beer. It goes really well with the beer. So a little bit of a quick history about the sausage roll. It is a working man's food, if you like. It would have evolved from the Cornish pasty. The pasty would have been a method back in the day when you worked on the tin mines in Cornwall, the copper mines, or the coal mines in Wales. You would have made a kind of a really rough, solid pastry to go on the outside of your meat. So all it was back in the day, say a couple of 100 years ago, you used to crack the pastry off and used to eat the meat. So it was just a way to store your meat, and it was just a way for you to keep your meat clean, really, was to keep it in this hardened pastry. You wouldn't eat the pastry, you'd break it off and throw it away. But as things do, things evolve, don't they, over time. The Cornish pasty, of course, now, you've seen me review a Cornish pasty on the channel. That then goes into like where they evolved it, where you could eat the pastry and it become a really nice meal. And the British have always had a big fascination with sausage, so they just designed kind of a Cornish pasty, really, with a sausage in the middle wrapped in pastry. That's the history of the sausage roll. I want to talk to you about this beer. It's really nice to be drinking this beer 5 days before Christmas. Let me tell you about the technical things about this beer first. First of all, when I was down in Greene King, they were kind enough, I still have it, they were kind enough to give me a bottle of their 5X. Now what they do, they blend this is a barrel-aged beer. In an oak barrel, I think it's about 12% ABV. They blend the 5X with speckled hen, and they take it down to 6.5% ABV, and they call it Old Crafty hen. So that's the blended oak aged vintage ale that they've produced, called Old Crafty hen, at 6.5% ABV. That's how they've got it to be kind of a stronger ABV than Old Speckled hen. That's the story on than old Speckled hen. That's right. Getting confused with all the old. So the reason why I'm smiling so much about this beer is because this was the beer Old Crafty hen was the beer that I released. My wife went into labour. She went into the hospital. She had the baby. Of course, I can't stay in the hospital. And I was fledgling then. I was first reviewing my beers on YouTube. It was the first year of me reviewing beers on YouTube, and my daughter was born in the July, and my channel started in the January. So back at that stage, I was still very new to beer. I didn't really know. I still call myself an apprentice back then. I still call myself an apprentice now. You can never stop learning about beer, yeah? So I get home from the hospital and I want something really special to review. At the time, a 6.5% ABV beer for me was very strong. I live in South Wales. A lot of the beers in South Wales were 3.5%, 4.5% ABV, kind of max. The stuff on the supermarket shelves was 4.5%, 5% ABV max. So to get something from the supermarket at 6.5% ABV was for me back then, classed as a special occasion, a special beer. So I went over to Morrison's, I bought the old Crafty hen, brought it home, and I did a beer review, and I posted the beer review on YouTube, celebrating the fact that my now 8-year-old daughter, 8 years ago this was, my now 8-year-old daughter was born, and I celebrated the fact that she was born and everybody was healthy, everybody was happy, with a bottle of old Crafty hen. If you would have told me 8 years ago that just before Christmas 2018, I'd have been sent a package from Greene Brewery with a bottle named Old Crafty Simon on the label, I wouldn't have believed you. I just wouldn't have believed you. I would have laughed it off. I would have completely laughed it off. That, you know, how could this type of thing happen? And I'm after 5.8 million, and again, going back then, if you told me I had 5.8 million views on YouTube back then, and growing at over 130,000 views a month, if you told me all of this 8 years ago, I would have said you'd be dreaming, man. You'd be dreaming. So it's the reason for the smile on my face. I feel very, very humbled by this bottle of beer. This bottle of beer will sit on my special mantelpiece shelf that I have in the living room for beer. The beer now has grown out of the kitchen and is making its way into the living room. I have a very understanding wife. Yeah, so I'm immensely proud. I'm immensely proud to be holding this here today. And just thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of the viewers who have tuned in and watched and have made this possible. Thank you to the breweries around Europe and America who have invited me to go and brew with them. And many, many thank you to the guys at Greene King. Becky, Ross, you're absolute superstars. Merry Christmas to everybody. Stone the crows and cheers.